So last video, I asked if I was cooked. Now that a couple of weeks went by, it's actually July 11th. I can honestly say that I felt what being cooked actually feels like. So, quick update. I actually started buying Pokémon again. Well, that's to stock, of course. And then, basically, a year ago, when I essentially started Pokemon, I made a spreadsheet which contained all deals, all purchases, and eventually all the cards that I sold, traded. And now that I saw it again, or I realized I had one, I just frankly realized that it's so cooked in a way because first, it's outdated. There's a lot of cards that are not recorded in the actual inventory list. And second, it's not organized. Not organized in a way because some purchases are not just individual cards. Some were bought as a bundle, some were bought as a whole collection purchase. And that's hard to really individually map out because back then I was paying per lot or per inventory. That's why the profit seemingly looked bigger. But I guess if we do the proper math, well, of course it's really big. Back then I think my profit margins was around 40 to 50%. But that was before the boom or the bubble. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's still rising up today, which is why I have a little bit sense of regret in a way of selling my Pokemon cards back then. I mean, just calculating or just catching back on some old cards that I sold on my early days and seeing it now compared to the price I sold it a year ago is really, really, in our language, it's nakakahinayang. Like example was an ETB, the Celebrations 25th anniversary ETB was purchased by me for around 5.5k, and then I sold it for around 8k, or I think was it 7.5, because it had a little tear. But yeah, now it's around 25, 29, 27. And also the Charizard UPC, the original one with the VMAX V, and I think there was another promo I forgot, but it was 3 cards as far as I remember. That sold, or I sold it back then for around 27,000. Now it's being listed for like 45, 49k, which really actually is one way or a reason why I want to come back. It's a bit of the sense of regret of falling behind in a way that I could have, if I held into it longer, I could have had more. But in a way, I understand that the money seemed irrelevant, or it seemed relevant to me now, but back then I know I needed it. Because of that, I would have never helped my mother, who was a single mother, and her business was failing, or at least had very low income, to the point where I basically covered or loaned half of the expenses, more than half actually. And yeah, I really like what my friend said. He said something on the lines of the money or the stuff you spend now might seem irrelevant to you in the future because of how much you will make by then. Which is how I feel in a way, but in the opposite way of regret, of course. But like the common quote, right? Don't cry over spilled milk. No one really expected the boom. Well, I low-key did, but I never expected it to be that big of a boom and that fast actually. which is why there's also uncertainty in terms of the market. Uncertainty in terms of it doesn't really always seem like it should keep rising. There's a point where it's gonna crash, but we don't know where and when that will be. As of now, there's gonna be a 30th anniversary soon. I also tried to, because of the money I made from the Roblox game I've been buying and selling, I have actually made around, just looking at the statistics right now, I'm recording this with a script, and just by seeing the actual numbers, I have made over around 160,000 peso. But that is without the actual capital. So this is the actual profit margin. So in short, I had around 89% profit margin from the Roblox. It started around April, and then the last sale was this July. I think it was July 7th, July 8th, something like that. Oh, sorry. Sorry. It was actually July 9th. The last sale was July 9th. But yeah, I managed to garner over 160,000 in profit. But now I only have around 100K more or less. But that's because of a lot of things. One, I've been investing in Claude code. But now actually, I don't know if I'm using it to its full extent. I'm just using it as a daily journal, something that I can track. Like example, my sleep schedule. I really value my sleep schedule a lot, but recently I've been sleeping late and waking up late. Like, my goal is to sleep at 10 p.m. and wake up at 6 a.m. But right now, my actual realistic expectation for sleep is sleep at 12, or the latest will be 2:30 or 3 a.m. And the earliest that I'll wake up is around 11, 10 a.m. Latest was 1 p.m. So yeah, I have to fix that. Second is, of course, my projects. So this is actually like the second trial of the recording. But essentially, I want to talk about Crammable and its realistic, or my realistic take on it. So I know that Crammable has, or the idea of a student helper, basically a student helper app, is not really a new idea. And we know that. But now looking into it, I realized that it's really hard to compete in a market like this. Because first and foremost, we're just, honestly, 3 students vibe coding, learning as they make. Competing against what? Probably $1 billion industry. But of course, there's a market for it, but the market is way too hard to compete for us. We're just students with limited resources. Heck, our main API that we use, our main AI that we use for the extraction of the files, the PDF files, is DeepSeek. And that's very cheap, that's why we used it. But even just the token purchases, we have to contribute individually, which is like $1 each. So yeah, that's how broke we are, in a way. And our competitor, which I will not name, has their own AI. So my realistic take is that Crammable will most likely be just a lesson for us on how we can actually make and develop a website, an app. Because my role for Crammable is essentially the front-end UI. But of course, is it really a front-end UI when I just basically Claude AI'd everything? But I guess I learned some things. You can say that I finally learned how to match dimension gadget per gadget. Because of course there's framing and per size per gadget, like the smallest ones to the biggest ones. We have to blend and have an adaptive UI. And for Crammable itself, we're not really gonna deploy it yet. There's still some back-end problems that we have to fix. Of course, security issues, privacy issues, and of course, the TOS and every law that we must dictate that we cannot legally be responsible of. But yeah, as for On My Way is basically, if you do not know or haven't read or seen episode 1, it's basically a GPS marketplace app. Like, imagine Pokemon Go, but instead of the Pokemons, you're gonna see the pop-up of listings like nearest condo, cheapest condos near you, something like that. Honestly, this idea is not really something like I thought of a long time ago. This was genuinely just a talk with my Korean uncle, and I realized that could be an idea. That could actually be an idea. And now that we're actually making it, there's actual progress. All I can say is that, especially with the amount of foundational skills I have or knowledge towards this niche, which is, to be honest, not at all. I don't have any background knowledge at all. I haven't done any research. I've literally just made Claude do all the work, Claude Fable 5. And based on it, there's an actual niche for it. But of course, like Crammable, there are already big competitors and they have more resources, very much more resources. I'm like an ant compared to them. But I see a vision in a way, a vision of there's an actual possibility that this concept can work. That's why my main goal right now is to actually present or show something towards my work that has or can show the potential feature that I want to show, which is the main progress of July. I haven't done anything yet, honestly. I've been just playing, continuing the buy and selling of Pokemon. I recently bought a lot of really good cards that I'm gonna keep instead of selling. I don't want to have that sense of regret again like I did a year ago. And now, since I have a bit of money, I pre-ordered some Pitch Black, the new set, and of course the set 3 illustration for Pokemon, the ones with the starters. And I want to talk about an idea that I had in mind a couple weeks ago. So recently I tried to think about properly, because my school currently is not centered around IT or anything technology related. They're mostly relying on their medical institution, their medical credentials. My school is known for nursing, rad tech, med tech. Those type of degrees are very respectable, and that was one of my options back then. It was what my mother wanted me to pursue. And of course, I didn't. I had a realistic take on it. I don't really want to work a 9 to 5, work 12 hours a day, taking care of people. It's not something within me. I know I won't like it. I know I won't enjoy it. So she told me to pursue IT because my stepdad or my ex-stepdad wanted me to also pursue it because he actually contributes a little. So I have to respect their decisions. The reason for IT was because in America it's safe. In America it's a stable job. But at the same time, now that I am a year in IT, I just realized how cooked this industry is. Well, of course, for AI in general. There's just so much I have to learn. And I haven't learned yet. And the more media I consume, the more I realize that this industry is quite cooked in a way of people getting left behind because they don't have the proper skill set, which this school will not offer me. Like, I'ma be for real. This school will not offer me the skill set I want to be safe from those AI takeover, whatever you call it. So I thought of either taking a gap year. Now, the problem with taking a gap year is that my school or the IT department of my school gradually changes every year of their curriculum because of AI. So if I take a gap year, I won't proceed as a second year if I return. I will be a first year irregular with my minor units being credited for. The major ones will be, of course, not be viable anymore because the curriculum already changed. The second years will be third years, or sorry, the my classmates who are by then third years. So no one will be in the same curriculum as me if I will pursue or if I take a gap year. Which is why it's very highly unlikely I can. A second, was to transfer to a state university. I tried this. I tried applying to University of the Philippines. They asked for a true copy of the grades, which honestly my grades are, for me, it's just an empty paper. Nothing really feels real to it. It feels like it's cheat. It feels like I learned nothing, but I still got the highest awards. Like I did nothing, but I got the highest commendable, respectable grades. My average was in equivalent to around 96 to 98. I think I'm around in a class of 30. I think we're only like 20, 25, 23, something like that. But in a class of, let's just say 25, I can say I'm at least third, fourth. So yeah, it's really sad that I come to realize this at a later note because I already spent enough money for this for the first year. Tuition fee was around 110K if you're counting the miscellaneouses. Plus, if you're expecting the second year, it's gonna be much more expensive. It's around 138, 134. It's around 67%. But you're also gonna count the miscellaneouses. There's a lot of miscellaneouses in the school. That's all I gotta say. So, yeah, I tried applying to the University of the Philippines. The problem was, I couldn't even get the chance to try. Why? Because the application process for the school requires a paper that takes 30 days to process. Yes, it's the copy of grades. Not the problem. My current school, ended at June 1st, or the first week of June, actually. Yeah. So, even if I did it on the first day that the school ended, like literally when school ended, I fully paid my balance because I have a balance at school. And I requested for a true copy of grades. It will take 30 days to process. The University of the Philippines started the same day that my school ended. So essentially, June 1st to June 30. Now imagine, I never had the chance because I never had enough time to get my true copy of grades. And what's funny is I learned that the hard way. I learned that the moment I was already at the registrar of UP, when I was literally in talks to one of their accountants. And I keep emailing, I keep calling. At first, I thought that the promissory note was fine. But in the end, they declined it. They said, can't really listen to this. They can't really trust this. It's not credible enough. They need the actual papers. They need the actual signature and all that. So yeah, that was really a bum moment for me. I think I slept the whole day, like really feeling so bummed out. But it's a lesson. I still have the files with me. And yeah. Now, I also know that my goal of 1 million a year, or this year at least, is honestly, now that I'm looking at it, it's not impossible. But at the same time, I'm aiming for so little, but at the same time, it's so hard. In the way because of the current resources, the current skill set I have. My only source of revenue is Pokemon cards, Roblox buying selling, and essentially like if I ever complete my 2 projects, maybe one of them might make money. So honestly, I don't know. And in a way, it's hard to explain, but envy is really a bad thing. I want to mention here that when I compare myself to others, it's really such a bad habit because I see, let's just say, a friend of mine or a classmate of mine who's doing the same thing I did, except he's not in an IT strand. He's not really known for technology degree. He's pursuing something completely different. But he has already built a website. He already has deployed an app. I felt like I'm so behind them. I don't know if it's envy or maybe it's the fear of falling behind. I really don't know. Which one is it? I really don't know. Now this is probably gonna be the actual voice recording of this video, and I will upload this as is, all the pauses unedited, because it's a way for me to reflect on myself, and this channel is more of a self-discovery, a journal of my dreams and goals. I really have so much hope for me, but now I'm in the field of feeling lost. I want so much, but I can do so little. But I know I can do more. I just don't know how to do it. A problem with me is I just keep planning and planning, but I'm not doing and doing. I need to stop. I need to change. If I'm really, as the channel speaks for itself, am I destined for greatness? Am I really, if this is the current self I am, a guy who doesn't even know what he wants, who's in a college degree he didn't even expect, who's doing things that he was doing and now just came back to it, who doesn't even know coding but is making an app and is essentially vibe coding, relying on Claude, who's buying Pokemon cards to find a self of relief of the regret he had a year ago because his family was financially unstable, so he had to sell a majority of his collection. I don't know. I just really have to ask myself, am I really destined for greatness? But if so, what can I do to achieve such greatness? I'm 20, yeah, but I feel like time is so short. I mean, I can't believe that I'm a second year already. But yeah, like I said, times are hard, but I guess doing nothing about it is still harder, which is what I'm doing. I have to lock in, and I will document my journey after this self-discovery conundrum type stuff. I don't really know. I'm in a sort of a daze. Like, I don't even know what I want. In a sense, I just want to get rich, but I don't know how I'll get rich. But I know we'll find that out together. This was episode 2 of Am I Destined for Greatness? And after a month, maybe I'm cooked.